Right, are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right, ding dong do then. Welcome Sam to your first finance meeting. It's where everything goes on in here,
Thank you very
but we don't
much.
spend a lot. So, any apologies?
No, none.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? Okay, can we resolve to approve the previous meeting minutes, please?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Second. Thank you. All agreed?
Sorry.
Yep.
I did read them.
Right. Alright, so 5 minute right now.
Will you sign them?
I'll have to sign everything. I don't know what time it is. Is it?
I've got something through. 21. Initial. Thank you.
Pardon?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Quite a bit of rain.
That's that.
What have you forgot to bring in?
Oh, don't worry, so I can work up here.
Okay. So transactions for payment. What we normally do, Sam, is we look at this and between us we choose 10 different items. Seriously. To verify that we're happy with what's being paid.
Right,
That's all.
that's fine.
It's only a procedure thing.
That's fine. Like I say, just be
I
gentle.
have
with me.
forgotten the folder and left it through there, so but I should be able to.
Because I couldn't read it on the phone.
Lots of cleaning materials,
That was for here.
both of them. Because
Sorry,
you've got
which
one lot,
ones?
yeah, you've got cleaning and cleaning supplies to our cleaner.
Yeah, that is the,
And then you've got another cleaning supplies.
Sorry,
as
who
well.
is the supplier, Isabel? Sorry. I can't see. Oh, there's a mistake on here.
Yeah, you've got for cleaning supplies and cleaner, obviously, I know what the cleaner
Yes, thank you, yeah.
Was there some stuff that she'd purchased as well, was that a
No,
mistake?
that was what we purchased.
Okay.
I haven't done it this month as per what was agreed.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so I can see
So
there's
it's
an
an
error
error,
and I'll go
yeah.
back and correct
Okay.
it, yeah.
No, for me, the Gallagher insurance.
Yeah, is the vehicle insurance, which is the two Kubotas of the tractor. So once the
Okay.
tractor's gone, that will be reduced.
Juice. Good, what's that then?
Machinery parts, bearings are rust.
Which one's that for?
£23.24, excluding that.
Bearings are us.
Yeah, bearings are rust, machinery parts.
Oh, that was for the belts.
Roll belt.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
yeah,
the chicken.
yeah.
Did Brandy manage to cancel that other order? One that's not going to be here until.
No, it's arrived, so no.
Oh, so we've got a spare set.
Yeah.
Okay. Repairs to equipment. F.R. Jones.
F.R. Jones, right, that is the chains for the pole pruner.
Okay.
And you've got another repairs to equipment from Amazon, so.
I think
So-
that was the other
Other
belts.
belts. They weren't
Oh,
going to
yeah, about
arrive for 3 months.
£13 roughly,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Tomwood's then, £19. Oh, the keys.
Tom Woods was the parks team. What did they go there for? Do you want me to go through and get the...
No, you're okay. It does say
It
keys.
says keys on
Keys,
it.
yeah, keys.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it was all the, it was the new barrel for the...
The vehicle.
Yeah. Mm.
How many is that then?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7.
Sundries, SNL Dynamics, Amazon. It's only about £2.80.
£2.18.
Yeah, or £1.82 depending on the VAT.
Good question. It would obviously be something for the parks team.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It wouldn't be the battery, would it, for the,
Oh, yes, batteries.
Ah, yes.
Batteries,
Yeah.
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 Right, well, travel expenses staff.
That's me.
For yourself.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it's not just that, I've been to the first, it goes back to September, first aid course, Horncastle for the other training, and 2 Silker trainings, but it was a lot more than that, but I didn't charge as much.
How many more we got?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Alright, we've got New Flame,
8,
Zoom.
9, 10. I
Oh,
think you're
no.
down to 10.
good?
Yeah, New Flames, the fire extinguisher service, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's £18,310 and,
But there will be more to
86p.
go on there, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, with changes.
Mm-hmm.
Are we all happy with that?
I'll propose.
More with what changes?
There's always changes between now and the next meeting,
Oh, yeah.
the full council meeting,
Mhm.
before we pay it. Do you need a proposer and a second?
Oh, sorry.
Sophie proposed.
No, we just, yes, please, proposed, SH, sorry.
Second.
All agreed?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Partly cast for December. This gets a bit confusing sometimes, Sam, because when you look at it, you'll see some of it got October on it and some got November.
That's what, yeah, when I was looking
Yeah.
through, I was getting a little bit.
So we'll just be doing the November ones.
Yeah, it's only the ones with the crosses on that say November that are
Right.
actually being.
And we've only got one person using a credit card now, haven't we?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Two to you, but. So do we want to query any of those?
Well, fairly self-explanatory, really.
It is, isn't it?
What's the miscellaneous and retail stores, Amazon, £49?
12th of November. It should be on, it's on the payments list.
Is it?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
let me go back to that. Anything that's on that Barclay card bill that says November will also be on the payments list as
Right.
well. So it's a double bubble really.
So I don't put my heart in, hand on my heart and go,
Not more money, no. Let me see transactions for payment. So 49.90 wasn't it, Amazon?
Yeah.
The problem we have is that you order off of Amazon,
Mhm.
and it shows Amazon on the Barclay card bill, but when you download the invoice after the goods have arrived, it's not always.
Oh, is it the boots?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
EK Wholesale.
that's it.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's very difficult from our perspective to match up and reconcile because they don't always come through the same.
So, yeah.
they tend to give you the, like, the supplier then? Or do you?
Well, they're like a middleman, aren't they?
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, they take the money, and sometimes with some of the smaller companies you buy from, the VAT is declared by Amazon but supplied by someone else, so then it will go down as Amazon, but then on other ones, when it comes through, it's a different.
Do we have the option when we raise an order on Amazon to put a purchase order number in?
Yes, we do put purchase order
Okay,
at
so
the
then we
time.
can reference
Yeah.
that back to the logbook, don't we?
Mhm.
Anything else on there people want to ask about?
Nope.
Thanks. Second,
Not provided.
thanks for all agreed?
Bank rec.
Yep. So I've just, we will need to, I've just signed, Isabel's just come to sign to move 15,000 from
Yeah.
CCLA because
Balances.
Yeah, I did look at it, I just
we've
didn't.
got around 14,000 between the current account and the deposit account at the moment,
Mm, not enough.
which isn't sufficient for this month. I've moved 15. It's quick.
can sign for CCI now currently or not?
Oh, I don't know if that's easy, right? I can sign for
No,
Barclays
we've got
now.
to go
We've got
back
to start
and
that.
start it again, yeah, so I'll do that.
It's not a problem, I mean, I can do it, but it's just
It's only
better
you and I
practice
at the
that
moment,
somebody
yeah.
else is able to do it as well, isn't it?
Change signatories.
Just a matter of interest, did Eddie bring all his stuff back in? His party card reader and his notebook, notepad, whatever they're called. He's still got it all?
No. It's not, I don't know. And presumably he's off the mandate now anyway, because the mandate, I actually finally got a letter from Barclays last Friday, and people that run the mandate are now the people that...
So it wouldn't matter necessarily because you can't access anything.
No.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think,
He'll still return his stuff though, shouldn't he? On the HR perspective.
Yeah.
Did he have a tablet?
Yeah.
He did.
Has he returned a tablet?
I don't know, I don't think so. I think it might have been returned before.
He had problems with his charger on one, and I don't know
Yeah.
if he took another one away.
No. I think the problem is that if somebody that's on the banking mandate also banks with Barclays, they don't have to use that login because they use the app. So if you bank with Barclays and you've got the app on your phone, it automatically puts the parish council's banking on the same app with your personal or business. So you can see it there. But when they sent through the up-to-date mandate letter, it doesn't say, it just says the name of the people that were agreed at the last full council. Could I have a proposer, please, for that? Thank you. Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So moving on then, outstanding receipts and the monthly budget.
The outstanding receipts, all the outstanding ones have been chased. It's just a few allotment rents. And a few old memorials. I think what happens with the memorials is they apply to us for the installation of a memorial mason. We grant the memorial and send them an invoice, but then they take quite a few months to make the memorial and install it, and then they don't charge their client, and then they pay us. But
So it takes quite a while from it being on our books
but
to
they're all
get
bona
yeah.
fide, companies, and they don't let us down. It's just annoying that it's sat there as a
It's got the lag, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's £3 there,
road.
isn't it?
So
Yeah,
from the-
most of it though is this month.
So how long in terms of, because you've chased the allotment rents again?
Yeah, the allotment rents have all had a chase up letter. There's a couple on there. There's one that when I went up there with Brandy to identify some spare plots to let, which are sorted, one looked particularly overgrown. So if we don't get any response, I will write a letter and say, are you still cultivating, because it doesn't look like it is being cultivated.
You just give them 30 days notice, couldn't you?
I could say, I think it's got to the point that, all of them, if they've had 2 asks now, we can't keep going beyond.
Yeah, so how long are you going to allow it before you then basically give them notice?
Then they had the invoices in October. They were due for payment by the end of October.
Yeah.
So they've had another full month beyond that.
Yeah, so I think, well, it's up to you. The very bottom one, I obviously can't say any names, but the very last one, invoice number 191, I know they were late paying last year. So was invoice number 180.
I think they should get a reminder letter.
They'll have a reminder letter, yeah.
No, go forward. A reminder letter for late payment, and if they don't respond within that 30 days, whatever we're giving them,
Mhm.
then you send them
Can you put on the reminder letter if you do not respond within?
We will relay
Yeah.
your,
yeah.
without notice, basically. So if
Yeah.
they haven't paid by
So
X
you combine
date,
the two.
that
Yeah.
their plot will be relet as of that date. We will be
I
relet.
presume we've got a waiting list, have we, for a lot of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can somebody owe £1.60?
Oh, it's because it's a bit historical. They round up and round down every year, so they don't actually really owe that if you go back over 5 years or something, but
So they never pay the correct amount,
No.
they just round
No.
it to whatever they feel like.
Can't we take that MRP cash and get rid of it?
yeah.
Yeah, there's no point in sitting, if technically they paid overall, then they
Can't
should be
say it's
sitting.
not fair, can you?
No.
Yeah.
It can cost you that and a stamp, isn't it?
Yeah, near enough, yeah.
So when are we saying for the letter to say
So if all those
30 days?
if those outstanding ones we send out this week with yeah.
Yeah, so by the time we get to the new year,
So when you
we'll know
come
what
back
we're doing.
after the Christmas break, then
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, the money's
If
not.
they'll pay
Yeah.
by then, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of them is quite a substantial plot, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's several plots.
Yes, I
It
know
is,
it's,
yeah,
but
several
it's,
plots.
Yeah, but
But it's
therefore
a-
it's a more substantial amount of money, yeah.
Mm.
What's the Watlow Parish Council one for then? Sorry?
The safe.
The
they
same.
store their old documents.
Documents,
So
yeah.
Fair enough.
It's a bit historical that it takes forever to get it every year.
Then we've not long just received last year's, have we?
No.
No,
I'll just
so-
write back to them and say if it's not paid in 30 days, we'll dispose of them.
I do think we're going to have to be a little bit more forceful.
Yeah.
Say, you know,
Money's money at the end of the day, isn't it?
remind them that they, you know, we don't have to keep their documentation.
No.
And if it's a pittance that they're actually
It's-
asked to
and
pay.
I think under the small business regulations,
Yeah.
we'd be able to charge them interest above
How much?
Well,
the libel rate if we wanted to.
You could do, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's-
It's not much, is it?
well, no, but in the grand scheme of things, actually, it's the difference between.
Well, yeah, it's every year they're
Yeah.
doing it, so it's
Mm.
quite as, yeah.
Yeah, they're getting
Yeah,
like,
it's,
they're only paying the equivalent of every 18 months to 2 years,
Yeah.
effectively. aren't
Mm.
So it's not been long before they've got a year free.
Yeah.
Could do all the harsh.
Well, but they'd be asking us very quickly, Rachel, if it was the other way round, so, you know.
Tell you what, we could spend that 50 quid on. That's what you've got to think of, haven't you?
Yeah? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, our reserves.
Well, I think you've got, you know, if you're chasing up one person for a rent, you've got to chase up everybody for the rent, you know, realistically.
Yeah.
So,
So are we all happy with the outstanding receipts, etc.? I mean, the monthly budget review. I've got a feeling on how I downloaded it.
It's just,
it seems to be forecasting better than last time.
because this is a different report.
Yeah, again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
We do keep trying to get the right one, don't we?
The trouble is that they put new reports in all the time,
Mm.
but they don't notify you when they're updating the software, so you suddenly find it by accident, which isn't very helpful.
So this is last year's budgeted expenditure and receipts and this year's year to date. Oh no, this year.
It doesn't, Rick and I have discovered, it doesn't like the fact
Yeah.
that although it allows you to do a budget forecast, say grass cutting, you only cut for a part of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So you only, when you put your forecast in, you only put it in for the months it does, but then it doesn't seem to work that out right.
Yeah.
It still carries on, so some things it will still say you've got, well this one, you can see this one doesn't show a forecast, but on the forecasting ones it doesn't work it quite right.
Mhm.
There's quite a lot overspent on the maintenance for the allotments, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
is that the
the
asbestos?
old
Asbestos,
yeah.
So I think most of the overspends are as they were. We haven't gone significantly over again, have we,
Okay.
in the recent months? It's just that's how it was, and it just keeps
Okay.
going that way in proportion.
Are we all happy with that then?
It was the asbestos one that caught my eye.
Oh, what, the top one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because normally we only budget for a very small amount for allotments, and then we've ended up doing
Yeah,
more.
it was the asbestos clear, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember that from full council now.
We seem to be mention cost cemeteries on page 2.
Yeah, it's the difference, if you add, when I went through and double checked it all, I know I keep, the screen's going too fast, cemeteries, if you work it all out, it's correct, because you've got a budget. If you look out, if you work those three out and add them together, it's actually under budget at the moment, or
Okay.
was, but under budget, but then we've got another employee. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you about that for next year, because I think it ought to be split differently, but.
Okay. Okay, I'm happy with all of those, if everybody else is.
Yeah.
Now we come under the umbrella of open spaces, the parks and the cemeteries, do you still need to split?
We won't, but we do have to for this year, because that's how we started it.
We'll
We
do it till
can't
we
change
finish
it
it, won't
through the year.
Mm.
But next year, we will have open spaces, and then underneath that, you'll have cemeteries, parks.
Mm.
You could drill down into each
Yeah.
part, won't we?
But for things that are for all open spaces, that will kind of be taken out and
Be easy, wouldn't
yeah, so rather than splitting things that don't need to be split.
it? Yeah.
With Scribe, we have to we either have salaries as a separate thing,
Mm.
so you wouldn't see salaries in open spaces, but
When we get to 108,
when
we
we
will.
get to when we get to the next bit further down the agenda,
Yeah.
we could explain that how
Yeah.
that's different. So it's a review, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on then. To resolve to recommend to full council that we put a tender out for cleaning services.
My only question with that one was, in the tender it says that we will be purchasing the cleaning supplies. Is that how we're going to continue, or are we getting the contractor to purchase the cleaning supplies themselves?
Wherever I've worked, they've always had to get the materials themselves.
Yeah.
Because we're only buying from Tesco or Tom's, aren't
No, we've got plenty of toilet rolls.
we? No, no.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a bad thing to make them provide. That's how everybody else feels.
I think you've then got set costs for the year, and you know what you're going to
Yeah.
spend, don't you?
What's happened to our...
Nothing.
No,
We're just
doing it legally.
redoing it so that we
Yeah.
can see whether that is still the best option. It's nothing that's happened.
And
It's
again,
just
like we
that
can
I
review
think
who
how-
purchases the cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
And,
I think, yeah, because if we supply it, you have a little bit more control over it, don't
you do, but if you're doing a
you? You don't
contract,
have people skimping.
no, you don't want people skimping, but if you've got a contract, that's the set amount for the year, they then have to purchase cleaning supplies
So
for
they've
that
got to
year.
fit in that
So you've got a set cost,
Yeah.
whereas at the moment, you like 1 month you might purchase loads of cleaning supplies, and then 1 month you don't, and
Yeah, but that's like being at home.
you don't know really what you're going to come out with at the end of the
But
year for your
there's-
costings.
A few months ago, we were moaning that stuff was going missing, weren't we? From the cleaning stuff. So if it's their responsibility,
Do you want me to?
I just think if you purchase it, you know what's being used.
I suppose the thing is, it just depends if we are going to use some of those cleaning supplies in the interim, like if you spilled a cup of coffee or something,
It's going to
then if they've purchased it, rather than, you're still going to need some of your own, aren't you? So It's just what is-
They're going to want a cupboard what locks up so they can keep their supply
Yeah.
there and things like that.
I think just making
Well, if
sure
you're putting
that
it out to tender, surely you could put it out and ask for a quote on both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With,
A quote
yeah.
with somebody
to see the difference in price.
supplying
Yeah.
and somebody not supplying. Then if it's worth us
Mhm.
buying our own, or,
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a huge difference, it'd be easier for us to go to Tesco's and buy it.
Mhm.
If it's only a slight difference, then it's easier for them to supply.
So if we put at the bottom, note, all cleaning materials are supplied by Holditch Parish Council. So if I put in there, notes, please provide two prices. One to include cleaning materials. And one not.
Are we doing it on an hourly rate, or are you doing it as a yearly rate?
Well, you've got a set number of hours per week, so
Yeah.
you could do a yearly price presumably.
I put in there how much, how many hours it is, which is what we're getting now.
Because if it's a contract, then they're set to do that number of hours, no less, no more. That's it, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's a flat price. There shouldn't be any variation in it throughout the year.
So please provide two prices, one to include cleaning materials and one not to include cleaning materials. Prices submitted should be annual cost.
Yeah. Because we can always work it out that how much that is per hour based on what we've put in the tender.
Yeah.
But that would be easy for us budgeting if it's an annual cost.
On the schedule of works, we've got to ensure that all hotels, blah, 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 and sinks and pans. Now, I read that and thought the saucepans, but I'm presuming meaning toilet pans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I borrowed it from somewhere. Somewhere I did. It also means by doing this that we have covered 52 weeks of the year, which it's the responsibility of the,
Yeah.
apart from now I've made those amendments, is everybody happy?
Yes.
I mean, over Christmas, how long is the office shut for?
Between Christmas Day and
It's
New
Christmas
Year.
afternoon.
Sorry?
It's Christmas afternoon.
You're a hard man.
Because we have the dealers here when the office is open.
Yeah.
Only when it's open.
Yeah, so what are you going to do for that week then?
They won't be here.
There won't be, so there'll be no clearing in that week, will there?
So it's 51 weeks a
You'd
year.
have to let them know that as well, and you just say yearly price, there's going to be a week they're
Yeah.
not
I
working.
guess
But I
it
suppose-
depends on when Christmas falls,
Yeah, it
doesn't
will
it?
depend on
So-
year, if they do it as a yearly price, because
I mean, you might
Some
still get your
years you
tenants
probably
coming
won't.
in and out during that week, you don't know. Although our staff
That's not
might be
going to
working
affect
from home.
them though, is it? Because
Please.
you only have the cleaners here when obviously our staff
Yeah.
are here, not the tenants.
You do it, you'd
Cleaning the toilets and
have 3
stuff.
hours, which you could then ask for some more in-depth stuff,
Mm.
the wing
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, okay.
Again, it does depend when Christmas shutdown is because it depends what we decide each year, doesn't it?
It's his choice, we don't.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, second that. Thanks, Rachel. Agreed?
104.
Mm.
To resolve to recommend to full council how much of the proceeds of the sale of the excess equipment will be spent on new equipment.
So how much of proceeds have we got in total?
I think it's 6,400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, that's what we won't receive it.
Yeah, I'd like it in hand before we spend it.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I think the plan from the parks team is we need to replace the trailer, don't we, for something that looks like an R4, but it doesn't have to be that. And Jan's partner is looking for stuff for us.
Mhm.
But I would suggest if we because we want to try and build up the reserves at the same time, because we're drastically low on reserves, not to where we should be. So I would like to suggest we don't spend any more than £4,000 of the total we received on a new trailer.
Well, that
And there's
should,
a little bit of months as well then,
that
just in
should
case.
get us a decent second-hand trailer easily,
Yeah.
so.
Well, there's a place, I was telling Jan, if you were listening, there's a place out in Handle that makes trailers identical to I4 Williams, but at half the price.
Yeah, because they're
So-
not branded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
The parks team aren't saying we desperately need anything, are they? So
It is not a desperately need, but it would be replacing our existing trailer for,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean other than that,
No,
other
other
than the
than
trailer,
that.
they're not saying oh this isn't working, we need
No.
to spend.
No.
So
The other trailer's not suitable really, is
We
it?
have got money that's built up gradually for, you know, machinery. If we need to replace an existing
That
piece of
is,
machinery, that we've got money there.
because we've got the tractor fund in reserves, but presumably that will now just be combined with the machinery fund
Got to be,
because we
isn't it?
haven't got the tractor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've also got that little I4 Williams trailer to add to the list, don't we, to get rid of?
Yeah.
That was in Tony's garden.
Airdy.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Happy with that, everybody? I'll propose it then.
Second.
Agreed?
So, to resolve to recommend draft budgets for full council. So, I've not made any changes, but
I don't think any committees made any changes, have they?
No.
the only thing that might change is when we get to number 108,
Yes,
possibly.
for IT.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Jan said we've got some money left in the IT budget.
This year hasn't been spent, has it?
Yeah, we've got money left over from this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what we were going to do with it, we haven't. it was-
No, I think we've got about 3,000.
Something like that, yeah. We need a bit extra than that.
It just depends how much has kind of been swallowed up with other things, but given the way the budget's going at the moment, I think we should be all right to use it.
Yeah.
But in terms of your ongoing costs, you might need to just up it by
Yeah.
400 quid.
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah,
Or
your
whatever the price is.
computer equipment and licences, you've got 1,100 for the budget,
Mhm.
and IT 500.
Yeah. So computer equipment and licenses, it would fall under, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to just up that by 500 quid, just to make sure we've got enough money for any changes in licenses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we agree it now and it is, we change it, then we haven't
Yeah,
got to
so
re-agree
if I
it
make,
later on.
if I make computer equipment and licences £1,600,
Yeah.
and before I do that,
Well, we need more than what you said on your spreadsheet, don't we?
I make 2,900.
Sorry.
I just want to
I'm
make
just waiting for
sure.
Miss Snuffle.
Sorry?
I'm just waiting for you, Miss Snuffle.
I'm going to go in budget somewhere, I'm just making sure it populates the new figure, that's all.
So how much does that give us?
Just double checking this. No, it's not 31221.
Yeah, because our computer equipment and licenses is our softwares and things, but our email system is our Microsoft,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So that gives us total expenditure of 301,657.
I'm not 100% sure about this reality software. Do we pay up front or when it's done?
I was
We'll have to
reading
ask
the
you
terms
tonight.
and conditions, you pay up front
Yeah.
for the first 12 months and then you
And then
pay
annual.
up front annually,
Okay.
and it's a 3-year contract.
Alright. So we need to purchase the new software when we get to it. We're looking at £3,500.
Mhm.
That's without any training.
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping the thing a bit, but I think we
Yeah,
have to.
you
don't
have,
we?
if you want to do that, you have to reorder the agenda.
Okay, can we reorder the agenda then?
And discuss it first before budget.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, proposed to reorder. Agenda, right. So, do I propose,
Me.
please? Second, Rachel. Right, all agreed?
So moving on to
108.
108. So Jan and I have been talking, well mainly Jan, really, because Jan doesn't make use of the current Scribe software doesn't do what the council needs it to do. So it's not very good. It's very buggy. Takes ages to get bugs fixed. So Jan has been in touch with some other RFOs around the country, and they all seem to be promoting a company called Ridicules to do a software package called Amiga. Jan and I both had a good 3.5 hour team session the other day, last week, where we went through literally everything, and it looks so simple, and it does everything that we needed it to do, plus extra. And Jan will be able to get out whatever report she wants. And you've also got the added advantage of when we get to the end of the financial year in March, Jan will be able to carry on in Realtus, whereas in Scribe, until the year end, accounts will be completed, can't do anything. So you've got potentially sitting up and up and up and up with lots of stuff. So for the Realtus software, for the cost, £3,481, excluding training, they suggested 4 days training at £400 a day. Jan and I both think we'd probably get away with a day, truthfully. Don't see why we need all that time, because we both got an accounts background, haven't we? So, and it's quite well structured from what I saw of it. It all falls into place quite well.
And that's training for all of the different
Yes.
ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you
So
just-
we'd be looking at buying the software package called Amiga, which has got the purchase and the sales ledger in, cemetery and memorial management, an asset inventory, a new package to manage the allotments. That comes to £4,481, and they've offered us a discount of £1,000.
See, them figures I haven't seen. Because I've just been looking at the comparison between obviously Scribe.
It's in the drive.
Yeah, I haven't found it on this.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is that includes the first year's price, so what you've seen on that, and the setup costs of the software.
Because I questioned this the other day, because obviously when we went to allotments, cemetery Scribe,
Yeah.
I was going to told, because I wasn't keen on that. And I did like the ledgers and bits and pieces, but I was told it was going to be brilliant, this is the way forward, it will do what is needed.
Yeah.
And that wasn't that long ago.
But we haven't had a software change since 2012 because we've had Scribe since then.
Yeah, but I'm on about the cemeteries
The
bit.
cemeteries, unfortunately, it is good, but it keeps failing.
It's not good enough, is it?
Brown is sending out reports that still they've got 1899 on because there's a glitch in the software,
And they know, Scribe know, don't they?
but they're trying to fix it. And it's just taking forever. I mean, we've been sending out cemetery documents that haven't had our logo on for 5-6 weeks. And it's been promised oh yes, we're trying to fix it, we don't know why it's not working.
I'm just reluctant to keep spending money and trying something new and then, like I say, 5 months down the
Well,
road.
Scribe won't talk to the new package. Scribe.
I know it's a fresh start
Yeah.
Yeah.
from what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, we can download the information from Scribe cemeteries and they can upload it for us into their
I
cemetery.
just don't want to be having the same conversation in 6 months' time when we've already spent like £3,500.
Well, they're certainly their support. They need enough guaranteed same-day fixes, don't they?
And it has been recommended by other clerks and RFOs on the silver training.
Yeah, Mablethorpe have recommended it.
And we're only a small council to them,
Oh,
because they deal with councils in excess of £3 million, so process.
We'll have money to try this, that and the other. We don't.
No, I know we don't, but we also need to be able to do what we've got to do and
Oh, I know
be
that.
right, haven't we?
I don't want to keep spending £3 here and then another grand
Yeah.
here, trying something different and discovering we need something else.
So in terms of them uploading all of our information and everything, is that included within all that setup cost?
Yes.
And the cemeteries, because there's a quote in there for them to do the map and everything
Oh,
for
no, that's
us.
different company.
Is that a separate
That's
cost?
separate. Yeah, that's not that from them.
So can we can produce our own map with the cemeteries and memorial management software, can we? Or,
Yes.
yeah?
Yeah.
But if we want to get an
we
external
want it-
company to produce it
Yeah,
for us, then
if
it's
you
an
want it
additional
done-
cost?
Yeah,
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 quite significant, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
They also do the allotment management, which does all, it's very, very good.
Yeah, yeah. And it's because it does it all by itself in the background, doesn't it? So it'll produce the invoices for us, sales invoices and things like that, reminder letters, so I think it's an opportunity not to be missed personally.
I mean, in terms of when you actually compare the costs of the ongoing costs,
Yeah,
the account software is more expensive, but the cemetery software is actually cheaper, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
It's just because we're adding the allotments and the asset to it,
Yeah.
that it's only about £450 more a year
Yeah, something like that.
ongoing cost, isn't it,
Yeah.
to what we do at the moment?
And Jan's come up with an idea that, because obviously we're obliged to carry on paying the licence for Scribe, aren't we, until next year?
Paid up, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the option of being able to carry on using Scribe at the beginning of the financial year and Realtus at the same time.
So we have to pay Scribe for the next financial year as well?
We paid up to.
We're fine on
uh,
the accounts.
Yeah, we paid it, so we're, I think it's September and October,
Yeah,
no, June and October.
Okay.
So we could run the two systems together,
back to back,
back
just
to
to
back,
make sure
as
we're getting.
for the first 3 or 4 months, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a 3-year contract with this other company, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So even if it doesn't work, we'll sign up for 3 years.
No, yeah, but you run the two, like when we went over to totally to Scribe, if you recall, I still kept on using Excel. I did everything twice to make sure that the figures were correct, so that it's a support really, it's doing everything twice, but for a couple of months, just to make sure that
Yeah, because it's not
We signed
necessarily,
up.
we're not missing
It's 3 years.
anything.
it's
I'm
not
missing
necessarily that the
anything.
system will work, but we would probably have it'll work.
Learning curve.
It will work differently on one software than it will on the other one.
Oh yeah, but I'm just
So-
saying, you sign up for something for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just going on their reviews, there's nobody flagging up any problems anyway.
Well, I heard all this about Scribe.
I'm not even bought Scribe, so.
But they're recommended by the Society of Local Council Clerks as well.
But presumably if the software's not performing as per their contract, then you have a get out clause.
Yeah, it must
Well,
be.
do we have that?
Well, I was just going to say then, have we got that with Scribe? Because we're saying that it's bugging and it's not doing this and it's
I
not
don't
doing
know
that.
what we've got
No,
with
because you
Scribe.
don't sign up with a contract, to the best of my knowledge. You just buy the package for that period of time, but I will have to check, obviously, Scribe.
Yeah, we can check with Realtus tomorrow.
I'd like to know a little bit more, you know, for get out clauses and bits and pieces, because if we're spending this sort of money, I just don't see the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have the 2 people back for a couple of months, but not for too long.
Well, we can email them tomorrow, can't we?
Yeah.
Well, come June, we've got to turn Scribe off anyway, because it's cloud-based, so they'll lock us out if we don't renew it. Don't
And how
Is
much
this-
notice do they need? Do they need
I've
notice
got
or
to
not?
check that email Scribe. I don't think they need any notice, but I will. Realtas isn't cloud-based, so it's a proper program on here, and you back up to the cloud
Yep.
all the time.
They also, in the background, without us asking, will go through all our backups on a regular basis to make sure nothing's wrong.
Yeah, because we do obviously need cloud-based, not
Yeah.
just here.
So I think the idea was that we would discuss this today and agree on a recommendation for full council, wouldn't we? And then
Yes.
we'd agree to purchase it full council.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a few loose ends that we need to tie up, but if they come out okay, in principle, are we
Yeah.
happy?
Yes.
if we've got appropriate get-out clauses, etc. in the contract.
Yeah, but you want to know, don't you? I don't want to agree to something when you ain't got the full information.
We'll get the answer tomorrow from them.
Have you, there is, sorry,
Sorry, ARC, do we still use
Yeah,
as,
we use them at the moment,
we
yes.
are using those at the moment, so what are we using them for?
For ICT support, so they will come out and do call-outs and fix computers, etc. if we need them to, but that's on our PR agenda too.
Yeah, because we haven't used them to.
Because I was going to say, I can't see that we would ever use them.
So in terms of,
Because
you would end up freeing up money from that.
that's what I mean,
next year, yeah.
if we are just saying that they will be within the hour type AA with a man with a flashing light on his head here.
And
sorting it.
remotely, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but you know what I mean, it's, that would be one way of saving a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I was trying to think, there is
There wasn't.
the terms and conditions are all there at the end, on page 3, that's the Amiga one.
Is that for, because you've got separate quotes for each one, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm sure I read something. Oh.
And you have to be careful, it's an automatic renewal as well.
Yes, it's like our
6
HR
months
services are the
notice,
same, yeah.
Yeah, that's very brief.
It is.
It says cancellations require 6 months' notice,
Mm.
and after the minimum 3-year term, cancellations mid-term will not receive a refund of support and maintenance fees already paid, but would cancel before 3 years if we knew that it wasn't working, wouldn't we? And we pay in advance for the 12 months.
You once installed any setup and any fees due or paid are non-cancelable and non-returnable.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've got the impression certainly from them, once they do the initial setup for us on their own system, if they test it to the nth degree, don't they, from what Caroline said, before they let us get our hands on it, so
Well, you can do an online demonstration.
We've done that.
prior. You've done that.
that's what we
Yeah.
did last week.
Well, that's what they did.
Yeah, and they've also on their website, they've got loads of YouTube videos on how to do this and how to do that.
So in terms of the training, then you really only need brief, and then
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, I don't think we need 4 days.
So we can save money on that, and they're giving us a decent discount, to be honest, aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah,
Given that
definitely.
we're having all of the.
Yeah.
And they've not said how many people they'll train for that, is it just per day, it's not per person?
And that's per day.
Okay.
It's per day. Plus there's a mileage charge on top of that as well.
I mean, if you were to buy it and you had it in, say, January or February, I'd like to play with it, if that makes sense.
First, and then do the
First,
training.
and then do the training.
Yep.
Because then you can ask for the
Questions,
training to be
yeah.
targeted purely for the
Yeah,
bits you're
that you're
unsure
struggling
of.
with, yeah.
I mean, how many recommendations have we received realistically from people for the software?
I was told about it by Mabel Thorpe, and by 2 of the people from Lauk.
How long have they been using it for?
Mabel Thorpe's been using it for years, but's only just gone over to the cemeteries one.
But they've been using the accounts for
They've been using the accounts, because they run 2 separate accounts programs, Amiga and,
Can't remember the
I can't
other
remember
ones.
what the other one is,
Mm.
but we would have to have Amiga, the bigger one, because we've got the larger precept.
Yeah.
Then, when Mabel Thorpe told me about it, and I say different people, there was 1, 2, 3 or 4 people at the training that told me about it, and I came away and researched it, and I sent Rick the link. And then I looked, when you start researching it, you start seeing all the councils that are recommending it.
Testimonials are good, aren't
Coming from, you know, having used things like Sage, and Rick's the same, it does give you that. So what I said earlier about with Scribe, I can just, because you have to report salaries separately when you do your AGAR, with Scribe we'll have to have a separate department for salaries, staff costs. So they won't be able to then appear in open spaces or admin, they have to be separate. But with Realtas, you can do that so that you can show them separately in open spaces so that you know what your staff costs are in open spaces, but it separates them out and you can just print another report that just shows all the staff costs.
That certainly seems to do an awful lot more than
So
Scribe.
in terms of like all our cemetery stuff and everything, we can do everything that we already do with the new cemetery software,
Plus a bit more.
plus a bit more, and it's cheaper. And with the accounts one, we can do everything we can normally do, plus a bit
Plus
more.
extra. They're also currently working on a update, aren't they, for the cemeteries next year. They like to do one package of updates per year. So
if you sign up to the 3 years, is
Yeah.
that inclusive of updates? So if
oh
they
yeah,
update,
any
so
update
you
is
get that as well.
already
They're not
included.
suddenly going to land us with a bill for the updates.
No. It's all inclusive.
Okay.
And the reports that the accounts reports that they put out, like the, like what you spent, you know,
Yeah,
when
your
you
budget
do
forecast.
reports and things, that was far, it was
Superior,
just,
wasn't it?
you'd love it.
So in
because
terms
it
of
was
us actually
easy.
reviewing our budget, we can actually see it properly
Yeah.
rather
At
than...
any time as
It
well.
doesn't do the
Yeah.
forecast, does it?
Yeah, there was a forecast bit on
But
that.
not in the flex
No,
forecast.
not in the flex.
But realistically, it gave you a lot more understandable information than you got through some of the reports that are there now.
Just find out if they get out to us.
No, we'll speak to her tomorrow
Yeah.
and chuck an email around. So if you're happy with the result tomorrow, can we propose now then that we present to the full council?
Yeah,
Okay.
subject to that coming back. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we've got, so we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to tie into a long contract if you
No,
can't,
no.
yeah.
If it was a year, not so bad. 3 years,
Yeah.
a bit bad.
So I put subject to the above, which is scribe notice period and get out clauses if there's software issues.
Yeah.
And confirming that by email.
Yeah.
And same with this other company, if they
Realtors.
don't, you know, perform how we want it to perform,
Yeah.
or if there's bugs, like you say,
Yeah,
Scribe
there's
sheet.
software issues
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
sorted, yeah.
Yeah.
So could I have myself
We-
proposal for that, please? Yeah. Second one. Everybody agrees?
Thank you very much.
So now we move back to.
So I'll move back to the other one.
Budget.
Result for amended draft
Oh,
22-23 budget to full council.
So we're going to add in £500 for software to include.
Is that enough
dealers.
then?
Yeah, because that's got our software currently
Okay.
priced out.
Yeah.
So if you're going to move over, then if you've got 500, you've got a little bit of
Yeah,
leeway.
anyway. Okay.
Have you
But-
got enough in for your training costs for next year's budget?
For this new system.
Because that would just come under your training in general, wouldn't it?
Oh, that's the scribe. Have we paid up until October now? I.e., is that included in next year's budget, or will we have overlapping costs?
Scribe Cemeteries is 12 months from June 2021, so that finishes
June
June
next year.
22. And
Yeah.
Scribe Accounts is 12 months from October 21.
Okay.
So we're only just into another.
So we don't need to budget for that for next year
No.
because that overlaps basically.
Yeah.
And does Scribe need 6 months cancellation?
I don't know.
That's
I couldn't tell you
one
on
of the
that.
questions
You'll find
we've
it,
got
yeah.
up here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the questions we've got there. So, what did you ask me about?
Training budget.
Training, that's in HR.
Should be an ideal time as well to do work instructions with the new software.
Yeah.
You can do a step-by-step guide just in case
Mhm.
they're both off.
Yeah, and then we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we reviewed all the training, didn't we, Jan?
You did.
We increased it from last time to make sure we can put everybody on the training courses they need.
So you've got admin training, you've got 500.
What
Yeah.
admin training have we got next year then? 'Cause
Admin,
yeah.
500.
What are we planning to
Yeah, what
spend
we're
that on?
planning to do.
It's just
It was
if
just
Jan
in-
or Brandy attend any LAUT courses or anything
No, I
else.
think they're asking, is there any planned? Because obviously Jan's done a lot this year so far. Is it
got,
refreshers and things?
I've got the allotments one in February.
That's
Yeah,
for
this
this year.
year's budget.
That's in this year's
Yeah, yeah.
budget.
There's
Um,
nothing
I
there's nothing
can't
planned.
think- No, because
But
the
quite
second
often
one
with the
will
LAUT
be
ones,
this
they
year.
just come through and then you would. I mean, most of them you've done, haven't you?
Yeah,
the
and
key
we're
ones,
doing
but-
quite a few finance ones, Rick and I, but they're all part of the training scheme.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So the ones that aren't are things like the cemeteries and allotments, which
You've done.
I've done anyway.
So logically, then we shouldn't need any more than that, 500.
And Brandy's got
Oh no,
nothing
you
else
definitely won't
that's
need any more than 5
nothing
minutes.
No,
outstanding.
that's all right then.
Yeah. Because that's just it's there, so you can do training courses if they
Yeah.
come up. Because there's new ones that come up every now and again. So, and refreshers of stuff if we need them. But I think most of them will be in date.
So we're happy then?
Mhm.
You happy with that budget?
Yeah.
We've had the preset letter come out, but we haven't had the
Haven't got tax base, have we yet?
tax base yet, so should get that in December. 28th of January is when we need to
Mm.
put the precept in by.
Mhm.
So if we get that just before Christmas, we'll be ready to rock and roll in the first full council meeting in January, won't we?
Yeah.
And submit.
Because it's just working out what the prices for Bandy properties.
Yeah, yeah.
Just so we
Exactly.
know
Yeah,
the
yeah.
updated cost and then
Yeah.
sorted, isn't
Proposal, please.
Me.
Next time. Seconder.
Me.
Has everybody agreed?
it? Yeah.
Moving on then. Item 106, resolve to recommend to the full council to pay all staff salaries on the 15th of December 2021 instead of the 22nd of December 2021 due to Christmas.
Do you like to give them the option, or do you just want to do it completely at all? Some
They've,
people
a
don't like to be
couple of
paid
them
early.
have asked me,
Yeah.
and it has been something that's always been done. I
It's
brought it to
historic,
council
Mm.
last year, but I think previous to that, I don't know if it's been brought to council, but it had always been done.
I didn't know with us having new members if they would prefer not to.
I think it's
That's
got
what
to
I'm
be an optional,
Yeah,
to be
I can
honest,
ask.
because,
Yeah, because I don't know mine, because I'd like to know that.
yeah, we
I know-
agreed
I
that
know-
we would
I
have the
know
option.
two have asked specifically, so,
Okay.
but I will ask individually.
Mhm.
It doesn't impact us in any other way, does it?
No.
No.
Could I have a proposal, please? Thanks, Rachel. Second. So, agreed? Thank you.
Okay, moving on 107 to discuss the report and resolve to recommend to full council the VAT review. John's been doing a silver training, as you all know. On a training day the other day, it was flagged up that we should probably be registered for VAT. We've done further digging, haven't we? And we only have to be declared for VAT if we have to pay more than £7,500 a year, in fact, and we're nowhere near that.
Mhm. And that's just for our,
That was for our
Stuff,
business activities.
yeah. so things like cemeteries, allotments and things that are our council
Yeah,
activities,
they're not an normal
not
business
included,
activity.
yeah.
But Amy's carpet shop is a business activity,
Yeah.
isn't it? So, but the other properties that we let out for rent, you know, the flats,
Mhm.
they're excluded from that anyway. So
So it's only business
it's
premises?
only business really.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no,
And we don't come anywhere near to 7.5 grand, do we? So
No.
that's fine.
Oh, so happy with that.
Yeah.
Double checked and triple
Yeah.
checked, so that's the main thing that we have to do.
okay.
Can't make it all like that, I'm just
There's a quiz at the end, so don't worry.
Can I have a proposer, please? Agreed.
So item 109, items for discussion and agenda item requests. I don't have anything at the current time.
No.
Cancel the meeting then.
When is the cleaning tender going to come in?
Did it say the date on there?
It did.
It was the 1st of February.
Okay, so not next meeting then.
So that'll be at the
Oh,
February meeting
we
we
discussed that.
What? Oh yeah, sorry.
You missed something.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda, is it?
Oh no, you can't discuss it then.
Well, we propose
Items
a
for
meeting and then
discussion.
talk about it, can't we? Because it is part of the software package, isn't it? In 108 to a certain degree.
Administrations review the accounts and administration software, so yes you can. You have to reorder the meeting.
Okay.
Sorry. Can I have a proposer to reorder, to go back to agenda item 108?
Yeah.
Me.
Thank you. Proposed, system 108, proposed. Agreed. So this is pair, isn't it?
Yeah, software, yeah.
Choice here, Rick, if you want it. Do you want-
Yeah, please. So, when we were talking to realtors about the cemetery package, they mentioned that they're not affiliated to Pair Technologies, but they recommended councils use Pair Technologies, and what they've got the ability to do is to convert that with Google Maps and some other delicious software that they've got to give us a proper map of the cemeteries. But I didn't know until I got the quote how expensive it was going to be. It's not cheap. It comes out at a total of, I can't read it, £4,375 for the first year, and then £90 a year after that.
You are aware that it's a legal requirement to have a plan.
We are.
Which when I was in the small safe, we've got a very basic plan. Brandy said that there's an updated one of that, and then we've got the updated one which we were proposing we're going to do.
Well, you mentioned something about your dad's got access to a plotter, hasn't he?
Yeah,
So you
to
could,
print off
yeah.
whatever size maps.
Oh,
But realistically, we can print it off, but
Yeah.
it needs to be a digital map so we can keep it updated, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
it's okay printing it off to kind of help construct it, but ultimately it needs to be digital.
And then each time we use the
Yeah.
cemetery.
Which is what I thought we were doing as we went along. At
Well,
the moment.
we have got several maps, but the ones that I found in the small safe, it's like print off sections stuck together.
I've seen
Of,
it.
yeah, so it's like that, but it's got
Yeah.
the new part added onto
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But it just needs to link with the which presumably the cemetery software, like Scribe, you
Yeah.
can pinpoint on the map, can't you, where the grey
Yeah.
spaces are? So we can put it on the software
Yeah.
anyway. We just need to input all the data,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, thank you.
Brandy's trying to do it on Excel at the moment, so she split the cemetery into 5. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and the new bit 5.
Right.
That must be very small grave markers then.
It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be quite.
I thought if we could get, your husband obviously, your dad.
To print off.
Yeah, because if you go into Google Earth
Mhm.
and change the setting to grid lines,
Mhm.
then you can download a really decent map of the cemetery.
Can you?
Yeah, I did it. Well, I didn't download it, but I had a play with it the other day.
Mhm.
With it having grid lines, you can zoom in, gives you all the grid line references.
Okay.
Not for each grave, but it will give you a square sort of 2 metres by 1 metre or something.
So it'll help you identify.
Yes, yeah. So if we could get one of those to work on, because I've volunteered to help Brandy get the cemetery records up to date, I just think it'd be easy to work from a big,
So in terms of the map that you can produce from Rialtus, how does that work then? Because we can print off for the grid lines,
Yeah.
but ultimately the digital map that we're going to keep updated.
you'd have to put your GPS references in for each grave.
Okay. Well,
Which
we
you
would be able to
can-
get the GPS reference from the
Google Earth,
grid,
yeah.
grid
Yeah,
line
yeah.
map.
So do we need both?
You would need the GPS. You need the one from Google Earth to do your GPS to find your GPS reference.
Yeah, yeah.
Input it into Rialtus, and once it's there, it's there.
Are you saying, do we
But
need
in
to
terms of
have
creating it,
cemeteries package and a map? Is that what you're saying?
No, it just
Right.
seems that there's a lot of work going on here, saying we need to be downloading this and good
Yeah.
lines, and then we're saying we want to spend nearly 4,000 on a.
oh no, this is we don't need to do both. So
4,000.
we found out that we can get a company to produce a map, but it's really expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because
we
I mean,
now.
I'm reading that, yes,
Yeah.
it's what we need, but
It
there's
is.
got to be a cheaper way of doing
Yeah,
it.
but if
Yeah.
we can do it ourselves by downloading
Yeah,
a
yeah.
map from Google Earth, having all the grid lines on it, and inputting that data into the software
Yeah,
we're going to be purchasing.
And is that going to be accurate enough?
Yes, I
Would
don't
be
see why. I mean, there is
You're a lot more
obviously,
accurate than what we've got at the minute.
yeah. I mean, there'll have to be some manual,
fair enough. Yeah.
If it's going to be 2 metres, then
there'll have to be some manual adjustments, obviously, because
Yeah.
Google Earth can't see through trees, unfortunately.
And plus, obviously, we've got trees what have moved a few things.
How can trees move?
In big graves.
yeah.
Oh, they
Yeah.
move graves, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. And because
Yeah.
obviously ours are not in lines.
No, I know.
So there's probably, you could do so much from the Google Maps,
Yeah.
and then where the
You'd
trees
have to
cover
go
the
all the way
graves,
around.
you'd have to
Yeah.
go. But if we can do the majority of it,
Yeah.
then
It's also a good sign, because they do recommend that you have a picture of every gravestone. So we could do that, but,
But like my point before is there's a lot of unmarked graves.
well, there's not much you can do about those.
No, but we still need to
We
have
need
some
to
sort
We
of-
should know where they
Yeah.
are.
But we have got various local experts that we can bring
Okay.
in for that.
That's what we're saying about, yeah.
I did come across when I was researching this cemeteries company that the Church of England, starting from next year, mapping every single graveyard in the country.
Hello.
Yeah,
Just the graveyard or the graves? Because it'll save us some trouble.
graves. But if we could be at the back of the queue,
So yeah.
It's going to take forever, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're never going to
Yes,
get
they
that
are.
done
Yeah.
anytime soon.
I would imagine they'll probably be using something like these people who will go around with a GPS
I
scanner.
think
Church of
realistically,
England. Paying for
Church
it.
of England, oh, they've got a huge grant from
oh right.
Lottery Commission.
Yeah, well, I think if you started with the new graves,
Yeah.
because in Park Road Cemetery, because they're the ones where you're likely to get burials soon, and then you just work backwards, and it will just have to be a priority long-term project.
Because we don't need to do Hallgate, do we, as such? Because it's new anyway, so the records for Hallgate should be 100%
You have a plan as well.
tickety
Yeah.
boo already.
And in terms of like the old part of the cemetery, that is an accurate plan. You just need to know who's in each grave, technically. don't you?
Yeah,
So you've got
So that's
part of
just
it,
cross-reference.
Yeah,
cross-reference
yeah.
it, and then
Yeah.
the new part of the cemetery, you just need to add it on.
because I did read somewhere that it's a good idea to number your headstones, isn't it?
There
Or-
should be.
They should
I think we
be.
had that.
They all should have the grave number marked on the back.
Mhm.
We have discovered why that wasn't happening, and we've closed that little loophole, so technically it shouldn't happen again.
Yeah,
Okay.
older graves wouldn't have the numbers anyway. so-
No, but what we could do is the asset tag company who did our asset tags,
Utilise that.
utilise that
And then
company
once
to
you
get some
know
more
what they
tags.
are, put them on
Yeah, 'cause
every
they-
single.
That would work.
And they
Actually, tag the gravestones.
It would
Yeah,
be
well,
right
the
at the
tag-
No.
Hang on, the tag is about that big and about that
Who's
wide.
going to get people's permission to do this? It's their gravestones.
Well, no, but they've got to have a number on them by law.
They're
So.
meant to be
They've
inscribed.
got a
on the
name
back
and
of
a
the
date
graves.
on it which you can identify it from.
No, but the law says that they should all be numbered as well,
Yeah, now.
unfortunately.
But you can't go and stick acid tags on somebody's gravestone. Jesus Christ.
Wouldn't bother me.
Well, the problem is
Personally.
if it legally has to be done, it's how are you going to do it respectfully?
Yeah.
That's the question.
But you
Whatever
can
the
mark a
solution.
grave, it's easy to know and find a grave, even if it's the same name as Joe Block up the road, because it's going to have different dates and times on it.
No.
You only legally need the numbers on it for recently. It doesn't say you've got to go back and mark old graves.
But these are recent ones.
Yeah, recent ones we're dealing with, but older ones, we do not number.
Yeah, but in terms of the recent ones that have been done but don't have a number on but should have had a number on,
Yeah.
it's how do you deal with those
And we
ones?
can easily contact the recent ones then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's
Speak
a,
to
I would
people.
say about 1 in 20 in the new section
So that's
of
going
that
to
one
need the
is
state
actually
mason
got
to
a
come
number
back
on.
out then
It's,
and put a number on the back.
Well, that's the conversation we'll have to have then, isn't it? But you can't just go around tagging someone's gravestone.
Yeah, I can. They're dead. They're gone. They don't matter anymore, do they?
I'm going to throw it.
Software.
yeah,
So,
Okay.
I think it's a no,
however, I do believe it is a lovely thing,
but it's just too expensive.
and it
Yeah.
needs to come in. If I win the lottery, I'll buy you it, but
Yeah.
we can't afford it, can we?
I
No.
just think it's catfish.
You would have one, wouldn't you?
So that doesn't need to be included in it,
So you just proposed second that it's too expensive and not
Yeah.
recommended. Can I have a proposal, please?
Yeah.
Right, second. And then we move back to the 110, Rick.
110. So the venue, the date of the next meeting will be in here on the 10th of January at 6 o'clock, unless we can do it any earlier.
We weren't mad and sending them February dates today.
Jan was putting in the calendar ready.
Yeah,
I did the whole year, sorry.
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Because that's another thing that on the next IT meeting, not on this,
Yeah.
we need councillors to respond to emails to say that they're going to attend meetings.
To accept or decline. then,
Yeah. Because otherwise we don't know who's coming and who it is.
Okay, you have got a lot of new councillors that are still trying to work out, and I'm only saying that because I'm one of them, that
It's all right.
are still trying to work out
Yeah.
how to use that.
Yeah.
Have worked out the accept decline thing.
So, meeting closed.